Aloha! You are listening to Inside the Desert Oasis Room, episode number 196. This episode is sponsored by the Tiki Bar T-Shirt Club, where their monthly t-shirt designs pay tribute to a Polynesian bar or restaurant from days long past. Each design is available for a limited time and will never be produced again. For the collectors out there, be sure to check out their subscription program, where they offer a discounted 3, 6, or 12-month plan, or you can always buy shirts one at a time. For more information and to check out this month's shirt, visit tikibartshirtclub.com. This podcast is brought to you in part by the Tiki Tea, a family-owned and operated tropical drink bar in Los Angeles, California. Come get their house specialty, the Raised Mistake. For more information, check out their website, tiki-ti.com. If you have a product, service, or event that you'd like to bring attention to, we can help. This podcast reaches thousands of listeners in over 100 countries every week. Imagine hearing your ad in this spot, just like you're hearing this one right now. Sponsor an episode and get the exposure you deserve. For more information, go to desertoasisroom.com and click on Services. On this episode, we chat with the Kontigo Collective. Gregorio, Anna, Trader Sampson, Phoenix Ablaze, and I chat about the history and contributions of Harry Yee from the Hawaiian Village. Harry Yee was a pioneer in tropical cocktails, including the creation of the Blue Hawaii, the Tapa Punch, Tropical Itch, and Hawaiian Eye. And he was the first bartender to garnish cocktails with umbrellas, lanterns, and orchids. As always, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did bringing it to you. If you enjoy this podcast, please give us a good rating or stop by desertoasisroom.com and click on the tip jar. Every tip or donation, no matter the size, is very much appreciated and helps keep this podcast coming to you every week. Alrighty, make yourself a Tapa Punch and join us inside the Desert Oasis Room with the Kontigo Collective, Gregorio, Anna, Trader Sampson, and Phoenix Ablaze. Aloha, party people, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Desert Oasis Room. I am here with my friends. I'm just going to have everybody introduce themselves since you forgot our names. We all have our mics.
We've been drinking.
Yeah, we've been drinking. Do you want me to do it?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, what are we drinking, by the way?
It's just a Port-au-Prince. Classic,
Port-au-Prince.
Very old school pre-tiki pineapple
I love it. And so
Haitian rum.
The voice you are hearing, that sexy strip club DJ voice.
Yes. Next
the
up
one and
on
only.
stage.
Give it up for Trader Sampson.
Hello, party people.
Why are they always named after like Sapphire and Diamond?
Because precious stones are precious. That's why.
You never have one that's named, give it up for Quartz.
Quartz crystal.
We're here at the Desert Oasis Room on another Sunday fun day. And we are at this point, I don't even know how many cocktails in, but we are joined by, and that again, the voice of Trader Sampson. Our friend Chase.
Hello.
We have the Kontigo Tiki Bar here at the Desert Oasis Room, and we have Miss Tiki Oasis 2019, Phoenix Ablaze.
Hi, everyone.
And get this, Phoenix made a drink for us tonight. Miss Tiki Oasis made a drink for us in my bar. So like here in the Desert Oasis Room, like, yeah.
Yeah, my first time bartending. That was super nerve-wracking.
You look like such a natural too.
Oh, thank you. I had the recipe written down.
But even still, I mean, like it was like you'd been doing it your whole life.
Oh, well, maybe I'll have another profession.
I love it. It's been kind of crazy for us the past 12 months or something, right? This is a fun gathering for us today because for a few of us, this is probably the first time we've hung out in a home bar and just had
More than one person with
cocktails.
us.
Yeah. Right. Because of COVID and things are changing. I think here in LA County, we're going to be going back into full operation. I think June 15th.
Yeah,
Right?
within the next month.
Yeah.
We'll be.
I think, yeah.
COVID is gone.
Yeah, they're removing all restrictions. They're removing space restrictions, social distancing. We can actually fill up a bar 100%.
Tiki Tea will be open.
Tiki Tea will be open.
Most importantly.
Yeah. I think it's going to be crazy that first day.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And most importantly, we are celebrating the accolades of a bartender that doesn't get the attention that some of these other guys get. So Harry Yee from the Hawaiian Village. I keep holding back the Hilton Hawaiian Village because this is pre-Hilton Hawaiian Village.
Right. And also, like, if they want to sponsor the podcast, we'll drop the name.
Exactly.
That's the last time you'll hear Hilton today.
Right. I mean, we might as well call it the Paris Hilton Hawaiian Village.
Oh, man.
Harry Yee, the man who first put a parasol in a cocktail, the man who invented the Blue Hawaii, the Tapa Punch,
The Hawaiian Itch.
the Hawaiian
Tropical Itch.
the tropical
Hawaiian
itch,
Eye.
The Hawaiian
the
Eye.
Hawaiian Eye, and in this
Chimp in orbit.
Okay,
Yeah.
Chimp in
Okay,
orbit.
Chimp in orbit.
Yeah.
And also the first bartender to drop an orchid as a garnish.
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
A lot of firsts.
I love it. And we're in a kind of a weird time now, right? Where we went through this BLM movement in the past 12 months, but we're unfortunately experiencing something that is very similar with the Stop Asian Hate movement. And so we thought that it would be fitting to give one of our Asian old school bartenders a shout out and a little bit of recognition for what he's done for this tropical cocktail scene that we enjoy.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Yee, coming from a Chinese background, working in Hawaii from the 50s. I believe he had some sort of connection with Don, and then went to the Hawaiian Village.
Did he know Don?
I don't know exactly. Again, that's about all I know is that there's a connection. I don't know how deep it was or how close that was.
I'm curious because, these days, all the bartenders know each other. Like, our friends from Trader Sam's hang out with our friends from Tonga Hut, who hang out with our friends from False Idol, who hang out with our friends from Smuggler's Cove. Like, everybody knows each other. And I'm curious, like, was it the same? Was it kind of a social thing back then?
I would think in some ways yes, in some ways no. On the mainland here in the continental U.S., I would say no, unless you're within L.A. County or San Diego County or Manhattan.
Because Hawaii was so disconnected, right?
It was.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at that point, it wasn't even a state.
yeah.
That's
For
true.
quite a bit of this, it was just like Hawaii was its own thing.
We had a Trader Vic's in Hawaii, and they had mugs and bowls and all that other kind of fun stuff that you normally see at a Trader Vic's. But in Hawaii, it was completely different than the stuff that you saw at Trader Vic's on the mainland because all their stuff was being made locally. As opposed to on the mainland, you had someone who was making these mugs and bowls and being shipped to all of the restaurants. But the Trader Vic's in Waikiki was kind of a lone wolf.
Yeah, but in that sense where you had the isolation, you were isolated with everybody else around you. So that's kind of what developed that type of network on the island.
Right.
Where I would believe it's hard for me to believe that the bartenders or anybody in some certain type of industry wouldn't have been connected with each other because it's so small, the island, and because it is so isolated.
Right.
To me, it felt more like a mutual respect versus like a true collaborative effort amongst tropical bartenders. You know, like pick and choose what you like, poach what you love.
And I do think that back then, really, there was the rivalry between Don and Vic seemed to really just be between Don and Vic, right?
Right, yeah. Steve Crane wasn't really a part of that.
He wasn't really a part of that. And
right,
Harry Yee wasn't really
was just
right.
way out in Florida.
Yeah, they were all doing their own thing.
Yeah.
We weren't living in a world that was as connected as we are today. So
and at that time, there wasn't enough room for 3 people. It was, you know, you had the Battle of the Titans, and that was it.
Yeah.
And the Titans was really limited to one, you know, the 2 people who were at the top.
Yeah. So we had some excellent cocktails today. One of the ones that we made, like I'm going to talk about the one that I made, which is a Blue Hawaii. It's not a Blue Hawaiian, which I believe a Blue Hawaiian has coconut cream in it.
That's right.
And the Blue Hawaii does not. So the Blue Hawaii, which was, I guess it was done at the behest of a specific Curacao supplier, which I will not name.
Why not?
Enter sponsorship here. Because it could be anybody.
Attention, supplier, if you're listening, drop us an email.
There you go.
We'll
You know who you
edit
are.
this podcast to include
And we will include your name.
as easy as that.
So supplier, manufacturer, whatever you want to call them, they wanted to sell more of this Blue Curacao, which I found kind of interesting because Curacao is an orange-flavored liqueur. And so you put some blue food coloring in it, and you still get the orange flavor from a blue liquid. That's kind of a weird thing, right? I mean, my thought is that it's just a marketing thing if they're going to do the blue, right?
I would think so, yeah.
I would agree.
How many blue drinks do you guys know of?
Not enough.
Like 3.
That's the same with me,
like
right?
Literally 3.
So how much of this are they selling? They got to be selling a lot of it.
I think that there are just probably endless numbers of Florida quote-unquote tiki bars that just pour it in on top of whatever
blue Mai Tais
drink they're making.
Yeah.
And
The blue
that's
Mai
that.
Tai. Yeah.
I think it probably sells pretty well.
It's got to. It's got to. So for our listeners out there, if you want to see what we made, we're going to put a link of the videos that we made in the description below. And one of the ones that I found really interesting was the Tapa Punch. Because, boy, was that thing loaded with booze.
Yeah, just a little bit. So, Anna and myself, we decided to make the Tapa Punch. And in that, the Tapa Punch really, for us, holds a lot of history. It's a cocktail and a mug that holds a lot of firsts, which Harry Yee, has this long list of in his repertoire. But the Tapa Punch, as Chase had mentioned a little bit earlier, was also one of the drinks that had the first orchid used as a garnish. So the Tapa Punch actually had the first orchid in it. It had the
first parasol too,
the
right?
parasol, the orchid, and the hanging lantern.
Oh wow!
And so it when you
not all at the same time. Was it really all at the same
all
time?
at the same time? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it has all of these combined. It's one. I think it was close to one of Harry's most ornately garnished cocktails, because it did have the orchid. It had the hanging parasol, and I feel like there was one more thing.
I think there was mint.
Mint.
Oh, mint.
So yeah.
So you had all of them garnishing the drink at the exact same time. So it's really elaborate garnish.
Very elaborate garnish.
So, yeah, and although it wasn't the first to have the orchid in it, it was a part of the history
Do you think this was done in response to what maybe a tourist would expect a Hawaiian cocktail to look at?
Well, yeah, I read a quote of his recently that said people would come into his bar and say, "Make me a Hawaiian drink."
Oh.
And his response was basically, what the hell is a Hawaiian drink?
Yeah.
Because there was no such thing. Because they didn't really do rum.
Right.
They did, they had their kind of version of whiskey. With the Okalehau, but like they weren't really making tourist cocktails with that because it was basically moonshine.
Right.
So he basically said, well, I'm going to make a Hawaiian drink.
Right.
And it might be blue, and it might have a flower in it, and it might have a parasol in it, and this is going to be what Hawaiian drinks are, and I'm going to create the Hawaiian drink. And that's like really Harry's legacy.
That's so cool. With the blue especially, and I know we were talking about the Tapa Punch, but so I'm going to segue over to the Blue Hawaii. With the blue, right? Mm-hmm. You had the movies like Blue Hawaii, right? Mm-hmm. Where they associate the color of blue, the ocean and the sea, which is very much a part of the culture of Hawaii, right? And he incorporated it in that way, right? Do we know who invented the Blue Hawaiian? Do you guys know that?
No. I would assume it was just kind
it
of
came
a
after,
bastardization
for
of
sure,
Blue
yeah.
Hawaii.
Right.
Somebody just trying to, like you say.
I'm curious about that because was that something that was invented locally, or did that come from somebody that was saying this is a tribute to the Blue Hawaii, or this is something that I made because I am a fan of the Hawaiian Islands, or something in that respect? I'm curious. So we're going to look that up.
I think it could have been, all of it.
Yeah.
Because of the coconut cream.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Which I still haven't had one. I have not had a Blue Hawaiian yet, even though we've had all the ingredients to make it.
Well, we can fix that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think we can.
Ladies and gentlemen, next up on the cocktails for tonight,
Blue Hawaiian. So, how many of you guys have been to the Hawaiian Village?
Chase is raising his hand.
Okay. I've been to Waikiki many times, and I've never actually been there. I've never actually been to the Hawaiian Village. I've driven by it.
What you would hope it would be.
Oh, really? I've driven by it many times.
No, the hotel's really nice. It's a beautiful place, and I went to the bar that's like out on the boardwalk that looks over the beach, but there is like one tiki in it, and then there's like one little piece of tapa on the wall, and then other than that it's just a sports bar. And that's it. They do have a tropical itch on the menu because I ordered one.
Okay. They put the back scratcher in it?
They do. They still do the back scratcher. And then they still have like the Blue Hawaii on there, but I don't think they have the Tapa Punch.
Do they celebrate Harry Yee? Do they write his story in the menu?
Not that I remember, but the last time I was there was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I wasn't quite as conscious of Harry's contributions back then.
Right.
But I don't remember like a write-up on the menu about the history. I knew of Harry through Beach Bum Berry's books, and that was why I wanted to go, because we were staying at the Royal Hawaiian a couple doors down.
Right.
And it shares the same beach boardwalk. So we walked down there just to go get a tropical itch, to go to the bar, to like say we did it. But I don't remember there being anything Harry specific in the bar, because I would have probably thought that was pretty cool and remembered it.
That would have totally been cool. It's crazy to me that he was like the head bartender there for 3 decades.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't a shrine to him in the middle of it.
And his contributions are almost forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's sad.
So although I haven't been there, what I do know is that recently, and I actually spoke to the historian for the Hawaiian Village, and she created this mural, in a sense, of photos and information that is in one of the hallways that talks about the origins and up to date of the Hawaiian Village. And in there, you actually get to learn a little bit about Harry Yee and the Blue Hawaii and Tapa Bar, the Shell Bar, and things like that. And although you may not find a whole lot of literature about Harry Yee, the Hawaiian Village has had these get-togethers that did honor Harry, his legacy, his contributions to the cocktail history, the Hawaiian Village history, and they have done, from what I have seen, celebrations of his 100th birthday, his 101st birthday, and 102nd birthday. And Harry Yee is going to be 103 this September. So I do know that there is some element of respect and celebration for his life and what he's done.
Was there some kind of a movement to bring that to awareness?
Not that I know.
Okay.
Not like necessarily a movement, but I think that there in Hawaii.
I'm just curious because, sometimes when we start going down this historical rabbit hole, we start learning things, and then we say, hey, this person needs to be recognized, just like what we're doing today, right? We have a lot of things in this subculture that we enjoy, that we give credit to, like the Mai Tai and the Lapu Lapu, and what else? Let's talk about Don the Beachcomber, for example, right? All of his contributions. We know where a lot of this history comes from. We celebrate that, and Harry Yee is very much a part of that, but he's just kind of this almost a forgotten person.
So I say he's at least on the mainland, I feel as if he's been very overlooked, very forgotten.
Yeah, so I'm curious, where that recognition is now, how it was motivated, I'm just curious about that. We probably won't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Hawaii, but Chase made a great point, which the way you learned about Harry was the way that I also learned about Harry, which was through Beach Bum Berry. Yeah. And, also in the whole resurgence of tiki cocktail tropical history, the whole resurgence has brought about a remembrance of a lot of forgotten people, instances, bars, restaurants that, definitely through the 90s and early 2000s were forgotten. And along with those restaurants and bars and cocktails come the bartenders and, bar owners and restaurant owners. And I feel like Harry has, been a part of, all of that that's been kind of in the resurgence or being swept up into that, archaeology of history that was forgotten. So I don't think it was, in my opinion, a specific intentional forgetting of Harry. There's so many things about tiki that were forgotten.
Yeah.
But
times change.
Yeah, and I think that also.
Yeah. And we're not living in the age of information back then, right?
Right.
Today, I think that whatever's being documented today will be less forgotten in the future because we didn't have the technology to keep that alive back then. Like in the 80s and 90s, we just didn't have that. Unless you were actually putting this out somewhere, writing books or whatever kind of documentation we were doing back then. I mean, it's just going to get lost to time. I think about that all the time with... Let's talk about Jeff Berry's work, for example. A lot of the stuff that he saved for us, we would have lost to time if he didn't go through the efforts that he went through. I often think about, this is really kind of stupid because I think about my grandmother's cooking and how delicious it was. And that died along with her. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But, if somebody hit up my grandma and said, hey, Grandma, what's in this recipe? and we documented it into, something similar to like the grog log. And we did this with other people again and again and again from those generations. We would not have lost those delicious meals or grandma's special whatever it is, whether it's some kind of sweet potato pie or some kind of meatloaf or whatever it is, right? I think about all the things that died with the people that only knew themselves.
Right. And I think we can all attest to this in whatever the example is that we tend to underappreciate that which is right in front of us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's
grandma's always gonna be there. This food's always gonna be there. I'll always be able to have this on the weekend when I visit my parents or whatever that may happen to be.
Right.
And I feel like Harry kind of fits into that, where Harry was around for 30 years for Hawaii, the Hawaiian Village, and
we take it for granted.
Yeah, he's always here. He's been here forever. He'll always be around, and I feel like that kind of contributes to maybe where we didn't always recognize him, but he's not the only person. There's so many other instances where we can point out that we've forgotten or not appreciated those things that were always around. And the kahiki is a great example of that. The maikai is probably the best and most present example of us having something around, and not to say that we didn't underappreciate it, but you never realize how close we are to losing those things. Well,
it's not even just that. In the age of COVID, the things that we took for granted today, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I was a Wednesday regular at Tiki Tea for 2 decades. And you take that away from me, and like, boy, did I take that for granted, right? And people that are friends of ours that are drooling bastards that get to hang out at the Tonga Hut or whatever your local watering hole is, right? Even if it's just taken away for a year, how much we take that for granted.
Yeah, how much that hits the social hierarchy even of totally. Like what do we do tonight? Like I'm so used to seeing these people who are my friends and neighbors and community, and then like we leave this spot, and it's not like you're texting your people, well, like, hey, you should come over to my house. It's just like that's the place.
Right.
And that sense of normalcy goes out the window.
What was that like for burlesque?
Oh boy. A lot of the burlesque dancers were just out of work. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are doing this as a side hustle, but those that have burlesque as their main source of income, they were hit the hardest. We were fortunate where we have the technology these days where we can pivot to doing online shows, but it's not the same because it's so awkward to dance for your phone to a camera, and you're like, I don't know if you guys like this, but hopefully you do. Right. It's really strange.
She's doing finger pistols.
Oh, you can't see me.
I thought those were tassels. Maybe
that's how I dance, with finger pistols.
I love it.
But things are slowly opening back up. I know I have friends on the East Coast. Things are opening back up. They're able to do shows, socially distanced. Some of them are still wearing their mask while they perform, so it's a different element. I was joking with a colleague of mine. I was just like, I'm so used to wearing my mask that I started dancing, and I was looking at the camera, and I was like, my face is not cute. I should just put a mask back on.
So it's funny that you say that, because there are people who continue to work in the age of COVID, right? Working from home in their remote offices and jumping on to customer calls and team meetings and things like that. And I'm curious for the ladies. This is a ladies' question. Do you only do your eye makeup and leave everything else off with a mask on? Or actually, if you're on a Zoom, you don't have to wear a mask, right?
Yeah, I don't have to wear a mask. I just make sure that I'm decent from like the waist
up. The waist up.
Yeah. But
sweatpants on the bottom.
Oh, totally.
24/7.
And there are some days where I'm like, I'm not going to wear a bra to the Zoom call because I don't feel like it.
Shoulders up.
Yeah, shoulders up.
So you don't have to. It's funny because when my wife's an attorney, so she does a lot of stuff with the courts on Zoom. And whether she's got a hearing or a depo or whatever it is, I know that she's got that Zoom happening if she's getting all dolled up and it's like, oh, so do you have a call? It's not like, where are you going? Yeah. Because, last summer, no one was going anywhere, right? So, I have a call. And she'd spend more time sometimes getting herself, like, all fixed up for the call than the call lasted.
Yeah.
Because maybe the call's 10 minutes, Mm-hmm. So it's kind of funny. So, with the guys, though, do we care?
Run the finger through the hair. That sounds good. Just
I still had. I've got some vanity. Okay, so yeah, I'll comb my hair. I don't know if I'll shave, but I'll comb my hair. Right?
Why are you looking at me?
because you didn't shave much during COVID.
You know, I'd blur my camera when I was working, so you couldn't really see anything.
Well, he's got a full beard, so he doesn't really have to, right? Or do you
hides
shave
a lot.
do you shave like the line, the
No,
beard line,
I
the
right
neck
here
line?
under the neck and right above my mustache.
Okay, all right.
Trim.
What would you say you guys learned most from this COVID experience that we all had to go through?
I think the fastest thing that comes to mind is just
That you hate people?
that and how much I miss close friends and family because of all the moments you're always saying like, okay, I'm just gonna see them next week, like, and that taking for granted again. It's like I know I'm gonna see everybody again, and that fact where it's like, no, I'm not gonna see anybody, and if I do, it's gonna be through the computer screen, and that was just so insanely hard at the same time, but just being able to be with all of you just even today is still for some people really hard, and just
It is,
getting out there
right?
and being able to see your friends and family again and being like, well, can we hug? Can we do this? And
Yeah.
it's kind of scary, but it's
Yeah.
like I want to be able to hug all of you because I haven't seen everybody.
Well, the thing is that, so we're getting a hug after this.
Yes.
So, the thing is that with having done something for a year or more than a year,
Right.
you get conditioned into believing that that is the normal, that this is how we're supposed to be. So we forget what it was like before COVID,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, so this is where we insert the disclaimer that we've all been vaccinated for those
Sure.
for the,
Yeah.
the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, well, we'll tell everybody we've all been vaccinated. So there's no COVID here. So it's kind of, one of those things that, like, if we wear the mask, it's not really necessary at this point for us. It'd be a courtesy, I believe, for those who maybe feel uncomfortable about it.
Yep.
But, the whole point of us getting vaccinated is so that we can live our lives, right? We've almost eradicated measles, polio, chickenpox, all through vaccines. So,
And the great part is that we can all now check our email through our left eye through our Microsoft account.
Oh yeah.
Which is
Wait, hold on.
really
I'm checking
great.
Because of
my
the
Thank you, Bill.
because of the microchip.
Yeah.
We just got an order on Etsy. Hold on a second.
Ooh, congrats.
I think I need an update on mine.
So,
Reboot.
probably the thing that I've learned the most is how much I actually enjoy staying home.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Right.
I love not commuting.
Especially for those of us with
Yeah.
home tiki bars.
Well, the FOMO is not what it used to be. Like now it's, things are happening out there, but
Do I
can
really wanna
stay
do it?
home. I'm kind of like used to being just here. I'm comfortable at home now.
I want everybody to come to my house. That's the thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to leave my house, but everybody should.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you say that because when we were organizing this, I asked, well, can we have everybody just come over here?
And no one objected.
Yeah. Nobody,
let's do
I mean, we had posed the question, or we had posed the option to Adrian, like, our bar is definitely open, but we weren't gonna say no to an invite up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys came. We're having some really excellent cocktails here on a Sunday Fun Day. We had some pizza. We had some hot ones. Last
The
yeah.
dab.
last dab
Last
challenge
dab.
at the.
Did a little
Oh
bit of
my.
last dab. Did a little bit of the chili flakes and the jalapeno wheels and all that kind of fun stuff. And now we're just enjoying our time together. So
Well, speaking of food, I would say that the thing I learned most of COVID was cooking.
that's awesome.
I liked cooking before,
Yeah.
and I got married basically the last week of October in 2019. So we got a few nice kitchen things, like a brand new set of cutting knives, and a couple of new kitchen tools, which was great to have for
COVID.
3 months later, where we
Yeah.
were cooking all of our own food,
all
3
about the
meals a
cutlery.
day
Yeah.
for a year. And so I got really into cooking and learning how to cook from home and making all kind of new recipes with weird ingredients, and it was super fun.
How are you teaching yourself that? Are you doing YouTube? Are you reading cookbooks?
All of the above. Yeah.
Okay.
It was. I literally be like, how do you properly cut an eggplant? Like,
Okay.
and I've had a YouTube video on it where it's like how to like most efficiently dice an onion.
So
And it's like learning like the
that's
proper
interesting
way
actually,
how
because
a
there
chef
is
dices an onion.
there
It's
is
not
a
just
way.
chop it up. It's like there's a method, and I didn't know that before this lockdown, and I probably wouldn't have ever learned it.
Anna was
without
on that
it.
onion chopping tip because of.
Gordon Ramsay.
I was gonna say that.
The video I watched was Gordon Ramsay.
I was gonna ask, who is your favorite celebrity chef, or do you follow any celebrity chefs?
I don't really, but I work in TV, and I've gotten to work with Gordon Ramsay a number of times, and he is the best. He is.
I was gonna
the
say,
coolest guy. He is nice to
I
like
love
the crew.
anything Gordon Ramsay. I love
is awesome.
anything Gordon Ramsay.
His persona
Yeah.
is very much for TV, except
Yes.
I will say like his chefs that he has that work under him that are behind the scenes on the show, like making some of the food that comes out that gets shown. He is really hard on them. Like
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
like you do
But-
not want to be back there when he's off camera.
But he's got a reputation for what he does.
yes.
And that's
But-
basically where Hell's
and-
Kitchen came from, right? They're like,
Yeah.
this is the reality of.
But like the crew, the TV crew, everybody, he could not be a nicer guy. He's giving people food all the time. He's calling in reservations to his restaurants for like the PA, like the lowest people on the totem pole are like, oh yeah, I'm going to take my mom out to Las Vegas next weekend. He's like, oh great, like here's the phone number for the hostess. Tell her I sent you. She'll get you the best seat in the house. And like on me,
I love it.
and like pays for people's dinners.
So
he's the best. So anytime I can find a Gordon Ramsay video of him doing something,
I love
like,
him.
Yeah, let's.
I love him. I love him. So he has a YouTube channel that I'm subscribed to, and he does these 10-minute meals. Do you guys ever watch those? So he does a 10-minute meal, and these are like it's the kind of stuff you get in his restaurants, right?
Okay.
And he does it in 10 minutes, and when he's finished making the meal, he always walks it over to his next door neighbor,
Oh,
and we're like. Oh, what is it like to be his neighbor? He knocks on the door. Number one, Gordon Ramsay knocks on your door. And number two, he's got a plate of food that he made for you, right? That he says, oh yeah, we already ate, but here's a whatever it is that he made. And it's from him specifically, right? How cool is that?
So here's what I have to say. Anna just said, yes, I know about this 10-minute video. I didn't know that you knew about that 10-minute video. You watched this. I've never had a 10-minute dinner. Well, what's going on?
I can't cook in 10 minutes.
She's not Gordon Ramsay.
Here, let's start off with this. When we started dating, he's the one who was doing the cooking. So let's just say now it's evolved. It's because of COVID. Now I'm the one cooking the dinner.
It switched. I'm the cook in this house too.
Same
so,
with me too.
Yeah.
I cooked every.
I do
meal for the last
100%.
year and a half.
Yeah, 100%.
I still hold down brunches, though.
Yeah, he does the brunches. I'll do dinners. And now I've been watching Gordon Ramsay. So I've been telling him, you've been cutting the onion wrong this whole time.
You know, it's funny that you say that. So after watching Gordon Ramsay, I had to change the way that I cut vegetables and all this kind of stuff, right?
About.
And I've been doing it decades for the wrong way. So it was an uncomfortable change.
It was a learning curve.
Learning curve, right? But you know, so I have changed the way that I've done certain things because of him, and certain philosophies on how I approach making a meal. But I like my eggs still better the way that he does it.
Yeah,
Because
I did watch his egg video.
yeah, because he does stuff with creme fraiche, and he likes it to be like really kind
Oh,
of.
he made scrambled eggs on Hot Ones. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he
that's
did.
right.
What
That's
are hot
right.
ones?
On the TV show, the Hot Wings show that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pull out a hot plate and a skillet for him, and they're like, "All right, make a
some
scrambled egg."
It's a fun show, and actually, Sean Evans just got nominated for an Emmy.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, he got nominated for Best Talk Show Host,
I'm not surprised.
which I think he deserves it. I think he's
I
really
think so.
good.
I think so too.
I think he's really good. He's a natural. He doesn't stutter. He doesn't no no awkward anything. He's so.
He also
good
gets
at what
to
he
know
does.
his audience, and his questions are very specific towards the person he's
Yeah.
talking to, and I like that.
Yeah, and I think he's good at
prepares
making his
well.
guests comfortable. Right.
Nice
So-
guy too.
Oh, so
Nice
yeah,
guy, too.
that's
Very
right.
nice guy.
I forget that you know all these people. Oh, man.
I'm not bragging.
No, I know you're not. So okay, so this is how stupid I am, right? Because I do this podcast and I do this YouTube and I do all these stupid things from inside the Desert Oasis room, hence the name. And I've sent him a note before inviting him to the podcast.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's even been read yet.
Okay.
Yeah, this was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. Can you make that happen?
But if you happen to know someone...
I can put in an email for sure.
Can you really?
Yeah, for sure.
I would love to have him. Now, so here's the thing. I wouldn't expect to be on his show.
Right.
But holy hell, man, if I could have him here...
I think if I got him photos of this place, he'd be like, yeah, I'm down.
Let's go. Yeah. Oh, dude. So we got to make that happen.
All right.
If we can make that happen, we're going to pull some strings. But I would love to do that. So we had, prior to recording this particular episode, we had some Last Dab on our pizza. And so that Last Dab is last year's Last Dab. And so I know it's hotter these days. And oh boy, man, was that. And so like as you saw, that bottle was like at least a third empty, getting close to half.
He uses it.
We eat it. We eat it here, right? And we don't do it just as a dare. We actually eat it here. And so when you worked on the show, did you get to sample any of that stuff?
Yeah. They actually. So for those of you who don't know, which is probably most of you, I am a location sound mixer. So I record sound on set for TV shows, mainly some commercials, stuff like that. But I work on hot ones now and then.
I love it.
And so I happened to be there at one that was right before Christmas, and they sent all of us home with a huge like gift pack as just like a little Christmas gift. So we all got like 10 hot sauces, some shirts and hats and stuff like that, which was really nice. It. Yeah, because I'm not even like the regular sound guy. I was just like filling in for my buddy. But yeah, so they sent us all home with some stuff. So it was cool. Yeah, and
do you eat it at home?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
I really do love the classic one. Just it's not that hot.
Yeah.
But it's super tangy
the red
and flavorful.
Label,
the red label. Yeah. I went through that really quickly, and then I bought another bottle of it.
So as I mentioned to you before we recorded this, my favorite one is Los Calientes. It's like right in the middle. I think it's like number 5. And that's probably the 4th or 5th bottle I've gone through because I love it. It's so good.
I'm gonna have to get that one because that was not one of the ones they gave us.
It's so good.
I gotta find.
That's surprising because it's their own brand.
Yeah.
You know? So the Last Dab I wouldn't say it's a novelty, but I don't.
It's close to a novelty.
I don't eat it every day, you know.
Yeah, so I was actually surprised that Chase went for it, and I knew I was gonna go for it. But then Phoenix was going for it too. Do you eat a lot of spicy at home?
Phoenix is from the desert, bro.
From hella hot.
Yeah, from hella
Arizona.
hot. And then, my mom is Vietnamese and my father is Indonesian. And when you have those two come together, like, you grow up. I think you come out with like a Thai chili plant, from the womb.
You'll plant this when
you're
So what's funny is that a lot of people don't associate Asian food as spicy food, but there's a lot of spice in Asian food.
I don't know what Asian food they're eating, but
I've learned the hard way.
I definitely consider Asian food to be spicy. Yeah. That's just how I like to eat
Have you been to, now you live in LA, have you been to Gelada?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Love
the food there, dude, is like...
It's unbelievable.
It's great. It's unbelievable.
It's the best.
Yeah. It's got all these accolades. And so my son lives in Westwood, and sometimes if I'm at the Tiki Tea or something, I'll call him and I'll say, hey, man, I got to go get dinner. You want to come meet me somewhere? I'll buy you dinner.
Close to Tiki Tea.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a halfway spot from Westwood. So he'll say like, "Let's go to Gelada." And we'll go to Gelada, and holy
Sounds
hell,
like
is some of the food there is like super, super, super spicy, but it's so good and so flavorful.
They warn you too, though.
Yeah, they're good at. We keep eating it, even though we're like blowing our nose and like our mouth is running and we're sweating and like but it's just so good.
Yeah. Do you cook like that at home, like at that hot level? Your husband, I don't know.
Well, he can't handle the heat like I do. So it's tough.
So he doesn't eat then?
Well, no, I make it on the tamer side, and then I just add in like my chili paste afterwards for myself. But I do remember, like, my mother makes this delicious spicy beef noodle soup. And she would always make it during the summertime in Arizona. So imagine eating this spicy beef noodle soup when it's 118 degrees and you're just like sweating.
You were sweating before dinner.
Sweating before, sweating during, sweating after, and then like your nose is running and like everyone at the table is just like
That's like such a Mexican thing too. Like the hottest freaking day of the year is when you get the boiling hot calor, like, you know, stew.
Yep.
And it's like, why would you ever create this on, like, you know, record-breaking temperatures?
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Anna.
That's all I have to say.
That's hilarious. I went to a friend. They got married. They're Indian, and everything that they had was super hot as well. And there was this. I don't know what you would call it. Like, it was kind of like this potato kind of.
Oh.
It's like a potato pancake, and it had these jalapeno wheels just all pressed into it, you know. And my wife was like, she threw her arms up. She's like, I can't eat anything here. And I'm like, how about the potato pancake? And she holds it up to me and she's like, it's got peppers all pressed in it. And I'm like, well, I like it, you know, it's all good. But she's used to the chicken tikka masala and the naan bread with no spice.
Well, the Americanized versions,
Right.
Because what I learned, you know, traveling is that our spicy, like our 10 is like a 2 in every other country in the world.
Yeah, I was going to say like a 3 or something.
Yeah. I was exaggerating, but yeah, like literally that's what I've learned traveling, going to different countries, is that our hot is just starting. Like they're feeding their 3-year-olds this food. Like it's
Buffalo Wild Wings is not it.
No.
Right.
That's candy for most of these kids in third world countries. And it's like, you know, foreign countries, anything outside the United States, you know, is like their whole idea of hot is just on another scale that we're not even playing with.
Yeah.
You have to get into a contest to begin to like enter a lot of the norms for other countries.
Yeah.
I remember traveling, like, I think traveling Central America was one of the biggest eye-awakening experiences in what hot is. Yeah. That's all I gotta say about that experience. I think I lost a couple lives.
I love it. Well, my palate has adjusted. And now if I have something that's even super savory and like something that I'm really enjoying because it's rich in flavor, it's still lacking if it doesn't have some kind of kick to it. And, you know, as a young adult, I remember thinking, why would anybody eat their food like this? Right? I used to think that all the time. And then I used to also think, you know, I'd sip like a whiskey or I'd sip a bourbon and I'd think like, how could anybody drink this? And man, oh man, ain't nothing like good whiskey or good bourbon, you know.
Now it's just to feel something, anything.
Damn, tell me I'm still alive.
Just to feel alive.
Just to feel alive. Just to feel alive. Well, I think we're going to wrap up this episode, but let me start by saying thank you to our guests for joining us today inside the Desert Oasis room, for making cocktails and taking time out of their Sunday to drive up here and spend some time with us. Before we wrap this up, is there anything that we want to throw out there about what we're doing here with the API and Harry Yee?
Well, shoot, we didn't even talk about that.
I think there should be.
Yeah. I guess that falls on me.
Yes.
So, yeah, well, in honor of Harry Yee and really trying to raise his presence within all of this tiki tropical resurgence, one of the things that we were really looking to do was, like most tiki fanatics, was kind of reach back into history and find some of those things that we really can't find. And so that's where the whole Tapa mug started. Right. And, just find, like, that thing is impossible to get a hold of.
So tell us a little bit about the Tapa mug.
So the Tapa mug, again, was created for the Tapa Punch, which is, one of the cocktails that can go toe-to-toe with the zombie, 4 1/4 ounces of rum. And in the Tapa Punch, with the Tapa mug, it was the first cocktail to actually have the parasol. And not only the parasol, or the umbrella, tiki umbrella, which is the generic name that most people use, it was the hanging Chinese lantern.
Yeah.
And so, as we were digging into the mug and the cocktail, of course you can't separate that from Harry Yee. And as I began to dig more into Harry and his history, and just realizing there's literally nothing written about him other than what Jeff Berry has put into his books. And when you consider what his contributions are, that's so minimal. And so as we were beginning to develop the mug, it grew into a passion project to raise his profile. And one of the things that I said earlier is that we tend to underappreciate those things that are in front of us. And to think that he's 102 years old and still with us began to drive me even further into wanting to make this happen, and wanting to do something again as a small contribution in honor of everything he's done while he's still around. Right. Because that's really the huge goal, is to honor him while he's still here. I've been in contact with his daughter and have been talking with her. She says, and in part for her dad, Harry, that they're both really excited about this project. They're honored. They definitely want to get one of the mugs. And so it's just kind of been like a snowball that started off as this little project that is evolved much further beyond that into honoring Harry Yee, who he is, what he's done, and in light of recent surges and attacks against the PI community, I felt that I had to do more with the mug. And I talked to Anna and said, like, I feel bad in the economic aspect of this. Like, we have to do more. And we talked it over, and we both agreed that we had to give a portion of the proceeds to the families who have been directly impacted by these hate crimes against the AAPI community. And what really pressed that moment of reflection was the mass shooting in Texas in the massage, I'm not sure what you call them, but
right,
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
So for our listeners, what Gregorio is trying to say is that this particular project has a specific purpose that is, it's not just about selling mugs to make money. What's happening is, with the proceeds of this mug, they're going back to families that have been affected. And this is kind of all of us here, our way of contributing to the Stop Asian Hate movement, and at the same time honoring a person in the tiki and cocktail subculture that doesn't get the same recognition that some of the big guys get, right? And when we talk about someone like Harry Yee, we're talking about somebody who's had also a very significant impact, right? If you've had a cocktail with a parasol in it, that directly came from Harry Yee's influence.
That's almost every tropical cocktail you can think of now has
in
an
the
umbrella.
entire world.
In the entire
world.
The entire
Every
world.
cruise liner, every resort, every hotel.
Yeah. So this is our effort to give him the recognition that we believe it deserves, and helping people at the same time that have been affected by any kind of hate crime. So that is especially related to the Stop Asian Hate movement.
And, you know, I have to definitely thank everybody here, Adrian, Chase, and Phoenix. And I don't know if any of you would like to kind of put in any thoughts on your, you know, contributions to the collaboration.
Well, yeah, I think just because we haven't said it before, I don't know if this is a thing, but like for anyone not in the know, Harry Yee had a drink called the Tapa Punch that came in a very specific mug, and those mugs are very hard / impossible to find. So the Kontigo bar has been working to recreate that mug, but that drink, the Tapa Punch, was always served in this particular mug, and Kontigo Tiki Bar has worked tirelessly to recreate it as close to they possibly can to how it appears on the menu. And these mugs are going to go on sale, and the benefit for these mugs will go to AAPI charities, which we're going to be promoting through Tiki Oasis. I'm going to be running a fundraiser through my Instagram page, and some of the prizes will be some of the mugs, along with prizes from all your favorite tiki bars and tiki artists. And we're going to have be hopefully raising some money at Tiki Oasis for this too, so you'll see us there hyping up these mugs, and they're really, really cool, and we're very excited about this and to be able to try to make a little bit of a difference in the AAPI community. And I think that we all know that you know, the AAPI community has really, you know, like we as a tiki community have taken a lot from the AAPI community, from the look to the designs to the drinks to food, all of it. And they have not gotten the credit that they've gotten to. A lot has been appropriated. And I think it's time for us to give something back from everything that we've taken. And hopefully that can help us create a more inclusive community that can help bring other people in and make people feel more comfortable, and you know, like keep these conversations going, and then at the same time making a difference in the world. So that's what we're trying to do here as our little group that you're listening to right now.
Very well said.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Chase. Very well said. Well, is there anything that anybody else wants to say
Miss
before we wrap this up?
I just want to thank Gregorio and Anna for, you know, looping all of us into this project. I think the idea is fantastic. One, to celebrate Harry's contribution to the Tiki community, but also the funds that are being raised going back to the AAPI community just says a lot about your hearts. And I'm super appreciative to be on this project. What really drew me to this project was the fact that we are in this pandemic, and there's been such a huge surge in hate crimes against the AAPI community that it just completely made sense for me to be behind it. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're glad you're a part of it, for sure.
Yeah,
Likewise.
for sure. Well, with that said, I think this is a nice place to wrap this up. So for all of our listeners out there, if you'd like to follow what we're doing here, we're going to put links down in the comments below. For now, we're going to throw out on the @Kontigo Tiki Bar handle.
KONTIGO.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chase Sampson.
So give them a follow. And
aloha, everybody.
And until the next time, we bid you guys say cheers and aloha. And we'll see you on the next one. All right.
Adios.
All right.
Aloha.
Mahalo.
Aloha, everyone.
See ya,
Cheers.
Tikio.